Okay, is the patient awake?
No, she's not.
Okay, tell me exactly what's happened there.
She's fallen down the stairs, she has.
Right, okay.
From the top of the stairs to the bottom, and her whole head's all swollen, and she bit the top of her tongue off or something.
Okay. How old is she?
2.
So does she wake up when you try and wake her?
She like moves when I try to wake up, her eyes are all swollen and all.
Can I take her name?
Yeah, it's Lola James.
The tragic story of 2-year-old Lola James is one of a mother's unthinkable betrayal and a child's stolen innocence. The following video contains descriptions of abuse and domestic violence that may be disturbing to some viewers. Caution is strongly advised when viewing. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence or abuse, contact your local authorities or support services for help. Lola James was born on September 30th, 2017, to parents Sinead James and Danielle Thomas. She was the middle of 3 sisters in the family. Shortly after Lola's birth, her parents separated, and she remained living with her mother and sisters. Despite challenging domestic circumstances, Lola grew into a charming, cheerful, and vibrant little girl. Her genuine laughter filled rooms with joy. She especially loved spending time with her grandmother. Together, they tended the garden and enjoyed the strawberries they grew. In early 2020, when Lola was 2 years old, the family's situation deteriorated. In January, there was a report of domestic violence in their home involving Sinead's then-partner. The following month, a visiting social worker raised several red flags upon inspecting the house. Besides the concerning unsanitary living conditions, they noted behavioral patterns in Lola that suggested possible attention deficit issues. These findings finally prompted Sinead to end her abusive relationship. However, the period of single motherhood proved remarkably brief. On February 17th, Sinead connected with 28-year-old Kyle Bevan through Facebook. What followed was deeply troubling. After exchanging just a few messages, she made the rash decision to invite this virtual stranger into her home in the Welsh town of Haverfordwest, where she lived with her young daughters. As later came to light, Kyle Bevan had a dark past. His own mother, Alison Bevan, described her son as unpredictable and dangerous. He suffered from severe substance abuse, using synthetic street substances and prescription medications. When his mother refused to give him money for illicit substances or steal medications from the hospital where she worked, Kyle would fly into a rage and had threatened to kill her 4 or 5 times. He soon drew Sinead into substance abuse as well, and she began using controlled substances with him. Warning signs appeared almost immediately. Facebook messages between Sinead and Kyle increasingly mentioned injuries Lola sustained under his supervision. Initially, these were minor injuries. Kyle explained that the girl had fallen from her bed, hitting herself and biting her lip. He tried to convince Sinead that he wasn't the devil and genuinely cared about Lola, who just needed time to get used to him. Over the following months, the situation rapidly deteriorated. Lola began showing more serious injuries, bruises around her eyes, a cut on her nose bridge, bloody noses. For each incident, Kyle had a convincing explanation, which Sinead, despite his obvious aggression, continued to believe. On May 14th, 2020, Sinead witnessed Kyle's true nature firsthand. Under the influence of illegal substances, he fell into an uncontrollable rage, smashing the house with a hammer and, in a fit of fury, headbutted Sinead, chipping her tooth. She managed to escape with her daughters to a friend's house. However, after Kyle apologized, called himself a monster, and promised to change, Sinead, defying common sense, believed him and returned. The situation reached a critical point on July 7th. Kyle, under the influence of illegal substances, pushed a stroller with Lola on the road. Miraculously, the child was not hurt, but even this incident did not make Sinead break off the relationship. It wasn't until July 16th when Lola appeared with fresh bruises around her eyes, which Kyle explained as a fall from a table, that Sinead finally became seriously concerned about her daughter's injuries. She attempted to check Kyle's background through Claire's Law and asked for his date of birth. His refusal alarmed her. It's strange how you can date and live with someone for 5 months without even knowing their birthday. On the evening of July 16th, the same day Kyle refused to provide information for the background check, and the day after Lola's eye injuries appeared, Sinead went to bed between 7 and 8 p.m. Despite all the warning signs, she left her daughter downstairs with Kyle. According to Kyle's version, he and Lola spent time taking selfies with Snapchat filters, after which he allegedly put her to bed. However, after midnight, Sinead was awakened by loud thuds and screams from her daughter's room. Upon entering, she found Lola on Kyle's lap. Although no visible injuries were apparent, the situation should have raised serious concern. Yet, when Kyle assured her that the girl had just hit her head and he would take care of everything, Sinead, against maternal instinct, returned to her bed. The next encounter between mother and daughter came at 7:30 a.m. when Kyle jolted Sinead awake with terrifying news. He claimed Lola had fallen down the stairs and, in a chilling gesture, showed Sinead a piece of her daughter's bitten-off tongue. Sinead bolted to the living room, where she found Lola lying motionless on the couch, unconscious but mercifully still breathing. Seeing her daughter's condition, Sinead frantically reached for her phone to call emergency services.
Okay, is the patient awake?
No, she's not.
She's not awake.
She's
Okay.
breathing, but she's not. She's only 2.
Okay, tell me exactly what's happened there.
Tell my partner, because I was in bed. He was up with me.
Okay.
She's fallen down the stairs, she has.
Right, okay.
From the top of the stairs to the bottom, and her whole head's all swollen, and she bit the top of her tongue off or something.
Okay. Okay. How old is she?
2. I don't exactly got the chunk in his hand.
Okay. So, just to confirm, is she conscious?
Is she conscious? I don't even... Yeah, she's conscious. She's breathing.
She's
She's just
conscious.
sleeping. Can you
Okay.
go sit with her, please?
So does she wake up when you try and wake her?
She like moves when I try to wake up her eyes are all swollen and all.
Okay.
I'm really scared.
Okay. How far did she fall?
From the top of the stairs down to the bottom.
Okay. What caused the fall?
I want this bloody dog that I had at Barter and she just fell.
Okay. Is there any serious bleeding?
Kyla's really serious bleeding. Is there any serious bleeding? No.
Okay.
It's just breathing and her head's all swollen in her eyes.
Okay. So stay on the line and tell her exactly what to do next. Do not move her unless she's in danger and do not splint any injuries. Can I take her name?
Yeah, it's Lola James. Don't move it.
Unbeknownst to Sinead at the time, Kyle had already contacted his mother, with whom he'd been speaking earlier. Rather than dialing emergency services himself, he asked her to call for medical assistance, claiming he was unable to do so, all while deceiving Sinead by saying he had already called an ambulance.
Is the patient awake? Is the patient awake?
No, she's a 2-year-old that's fallen down the stairs. She's unconscious. They can't wake her up. And then
Okay. Tell me exactly what's happened.
a 2-year-old, she's got ADHD. She's fallen from top to bottom of the stairs. They can't wake her up. And then she's bit the end of her tongue because they're not sure if she's fitted. But she's floppy. They can't wake her up.
And you're not with the patient now?
I'm not with the patient. They've just rang me because I've got credit on my phone to ring an ambulance now, they say.
They can ring credit. They don't need credit to ring an ambulance. Okay.
Oh, they panicked, I think, so.
And when did this happen?
This morning. I don't know the exact time. It must have just happened because there's...
What caused the fall?
the child woke up and she's fallen down the stairs, apparently. So,
Is there any serious bleeding?
no, it's just a massive lump on the head.
When paramedics arrived, Kyle continued fabricating new versions of events. He introduced himself as Lola's stepfather and claimed she had tripped over the dog and fallen down the stairs. However, this version raised obvious questions. How could a child who was allegedly sleeping and had just left her room fall down the stairs when there was a safety gate installed on the door, which, according to Sinead, Lola had never been able to climb over? At Withybush Hospital in Haverfordwest, Kyle's true nature was fully revealed when doctors, performing their professional duty, began asking about the girl's injuries. He flew into a rage and threatened to tear up the nurse's papers if he learned about information being passed to social services. The medical examination revealed a horrifying picture. Over 100 scratches and bruises across her entire body, severe injuries to both eyes, and brain trauma so serious it was compared to car crash victims' injuries. One doctor, who had many years of experience, admitted she had never seen such a severely beaten child. The nature of the injuries clearly indicated intentional violence. Due to Lola's critical condition, at 11:15 in the morning, she was urgently transferred to the University Hospital of Wales in Cardiff. Sinead went with her daughter while Kyle stayed home. At 3:15 in the afternoon, he sent Sinead a message attempting to coordinate their testimonies for the police. Around the same time, police officers arrived at the house to question Kyle and conduct a thorough inspection of the property. Kyle. She probably weighs more than little ones, so that's what I mean. She took a fly. I didn't want to harm the dog. That's the only thing. I'll be honest, if you're partially responsible for anything, it's the fact that I was making a bowl of cereal. During questioning, Kyle claimed Lola had tripped over the dog and fallen down the stairs, allegedly while he was in the kitchen preparing a bowl of cereal for his stepdaughter. Later that day, both Kyle and Sinead were arrested on suspicion of child neglect. As investigators continued to uncover more disturbing evidence throughout the property, the officers were shocked by the state of the house. Inside, complete chaos reigned. Everything was turned upside down and filthy. Yet amidst this disorder, one detail stood out. The bathroom was spotlessly clean, in stark contrast to the squalor throughout the rest of the house. It appeared to have been meticulously scrubbed just before the police's arrival. In a corner of the living room, forensic investigators found a child's wet overalls with a snowflake pattern, stained with vomit and blood. Shockingly, both remained free on bail for almost 2 years, while detectives conducted their investigation, gathering forensic evidence and building a case. It wasn't until April 2022 that new evidence finally led to their rearrest on more serious charges: Kyle for murder and Sinead for causing or allowing the death of a child. At their initial Swansea Crown Court appearance, both initially denied the charges. Based on the overwhelming evidence now assembled, Kyle was remanded in custody, while Sinead was granted bail due to her continued cooperation with authorities. When the trial began in March 2023, the full horror of that night emerged. The court determined that the attack was prolonged, deliberate, and brutal, involving weapons. Despite Kyle Bevan's desperate attempts to maintain his innocence throughout the trial, the evidence against him was irrefutable, ultimately leading to both defendants being found guilty. Lola James was described by her grandmother as a character who loved life. Her father said she was always smiling and happy, a little ray of sunshine with a laugh that would fill the room with pure joy. Her photograph reminds us of a beautiful little girl. But you, Kyle Bevan, murdered her when she was only 2 years old, and Sinead James allowed her death. What happened that night was pieced together during the trial from Kyle's own phone. Around 4:30 in the morning on July 17th, he took pictures of Lola's injured back while she was still conscious and standing. By 6:37, he was Googling head injuries. The website clearly advised immediate medical attention for severe bruising, swelling, or loss of consciousness, advice he chose to ignore. A few minutes later, Kyle called his mom. He sent her pictures of Lola and a disturbing video where he tried to make the unconscious child stand up, repeatedly saying, "She's gone, she's gone." His mom begged him to get Lola to a hospital immediately. The video was so distressing that she could never bring herself to watch it. When police finally arrived at 11 o'clock, they discovered Kyle had spent hours methodically cleaning the bathroom while leaving the rest of the house in chaos. A telling detail that would later prove crucial in court. On April 4th, 2023, after 10 hours of deliberation, the jury reached their verdict. Stand up, Kyle Bevan. For the murder of Lola James, I sentence you to imprisonment for life with a minimum term of 28 years, less 368 days already spent in custody on remand. You may go down. Stand up, Sinead James. For allowing the death of Lola James, I sentence you to 6 years imprisonment. You will serve half, namely 3 years, before release on license. You may go down. Kyle Bevan was found guilty of murder, while Sinead James was found guilty of causing or allowing her daughter's death. Throughout the trial, Kyle remained coldly indifferent, even as medical experts detailed how his violent actions caused catastrophic brain injuries that ultimately took Lola's life. Before sentencing, the courtroom fell silent as Lola's grandmother stood to address Kyle directly, making him look her in the eye. She said, "You didn't just kill my granddaughter. You destroyed our whole family. I hope someday you understand what you did." Her voice breaking, she shared her own guilt at being too ill to watch Lola that fateful night, a burden she would carry forever. They laid Lola to rest that September at St. David and St. Patrick's Church. The procession carried her through town in a horse-drawn carriage to Thornton Cemetery. Instead of mourning in silence, the family asked people to clap and release balloons, a celebration of the bright little girl whose life was cut tragically short. This whole tragedy comes down to a mother who wouldn't see what was right in front of her. Sinead had numerous opportunities to save her daughter, but ignored every warning sign. She let a violent man stay in their home, and it cost Lola her life. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who watched this video all the way through. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this case in the comments, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'd also like to send a special thank you to everyone who has donated to support my channel. Your support means the world to me and gives me the motivation to keep making new and interesting investigations for you, my wonderful viewers. Thank you all so much.